Hey guys, welcome to Disc Golf Examiner. Today we're bringing you coverage of the 2018 Shamrock Showdown, TD'd by Jacob Johnston, who is, you're 17 years old?
17, yeah.
Yeah. This is your second year running this tournament, and we had a huge turnout today for this event at Moraine State Park in Pittsburgh, PA. We're really excited about it, and actually you guys told me you were interested in doing commentary for it, right?
100%.
Absolutely. So we're going to have Jacob and his brother Jarrett, the only twin commentary on the internet, I think.
Yeah, probably.
That's right. Sounds good to me. I did want to say, before we get into it, special thank you to Disc Store for sponsoring today's broadcast, as well as the photos we take from today. So, and without further ado, let's go ahead and get into it. I'll leave it off to you guys.
Thank you. Welcome, guys, to the second annual Shamrock Showdown at Moraine State Park. We're looking here at the registration and sign-in of that morning. It's a pretty brisk day out over the lake here, somewhere around 20 degrees in the morning. Some good shots of the sunrise coming up here, probably around 8 o'clock.
Yeah, it was a real cold morning. Definitely had a toll on some of the players in the morning, but it definitely got real nice during the day. Warmed up, low 40s, high 30s. Great day for disc golf.
Speaking of a great group of guys we have here with Brian Marcinkowski, Sam Castiglione, Chris Lahendro, and Adam Woodward. Brian and Sam are from the Buffalo area, and then Adam and Chris are from the Pittsburgh area. So it's a battle of Buffalo and Pittsburgh.
There's the shot of Mackenzie Vignolini on the right side, peering out.
Hole 1 is a par 3, pretty much dead straight. You just have to stay away from the right woods on the right, and then there's a little gateway of trees to the left. So we'll see how Sam plays this one.
That looks like it got a little low for him. He should have an easy upshot for the 3.
Chris is a predominantly forehand player, which I'm guessing we'll see a lot of today. That one looks like it's going to go right, but there is usually a path through those woods. You just might have to shape it a little bit. And I'm pretty sure Brian here is going to go with the forehand as well.
He gets good flex on that one. Should come back to the basket nicely. Great shot.
This hole, you like to see a 2, but it's not really the most gettable. It's still over 300 feet, and it really takes a well-shaped shot to get all the way to the basket dead straight. As you can see, Adam leaking off a little to the left there, going through that gateway of trees that I talked about earlier. Sam, a relatively easy forehand upshot from probably 100 feet. A little left, but he should be able to make that putt. And then Chris got into a little more trouble than you like to. Couldn't see where that one finished, but I bet he'll have a putt from there. Adam from maybe 50, 60 feet.
Oh, wow. Yeah, let that one go a little early. Leaks left.
Then Sam, this will be to clean up his par. Looks like maybe 15 to 20 feet. Good connection from Sam there. He's a good putter. You like to see that. And Chris did get close to the basket, as I had assumed. And Chris, another good putter. So I hope to see some huge putts from him today. And another one dead in this heart of the chains. Adam to clean up his 3. And
That only leaves Brian, which means he must be right under the basket.
a little low, but gets into the bottom of the cage. And then Brian tapping in a great 2 there. Again, that's a hole that doesn't get 2'd a lot. But when you do get that 2, you know you're gaining some strokes on competitors. But it's not 4'd a lot either, so it's more of a 2 or a 3 hole for 95% of the field.
Going up to hole 2. It's a par 4, 336 feet. tunnel off the tee and it'll hook a little left. There is an OB creek to the right and just long of the basket. That looks like a really good shot shaping towards the pin.
Yeah, he's probably got another 80 feet up that hill. Most likely looking at a relatively easy birdie. As long as you stay in the fairway and out of the right or left woods, you should have a relatively open up shot. Sam, a little low and maybe a little right, but again, you still have a relatively easy upshot to the pin. You just want to get as close as possible. The pin's tucked up on the left side, probably 30 feet from any OB danger.
Chris throwing forehand on the shot. Shot you don't see very often, but that worked out very well. Should have a very easy upshot.
And again, these guys aren't going for eagles, even though this hole would be eagleable with a large hyzer. They're going for a nice placement shot to leave them with a relatively easy upshot.
Adams hooks right, takes a great kick right back into the middle of the fairway.
Yeah, there was a good chance that shot would have gone OB if it had continued without hitting any trees, as it does go right and long of the basket.
Sam giving a forehand approach. That looks like it's right next to the basket.
Adam looking to give it a somewhat of a run here.
Fakes us out a couple times.
And then lays it up. Nice job, Adam. Thanks for that. And then Chris here. He's got, with that forehand shot, he actually got closest to the basket here.
Now Brian.
I forgot about Brian. Sorry, Brian.
Brian setting up a turbo putt.
You don't see a lot of players turbo putt from that far outside the circle and up the hill, but we'll see how it works out for him. A good amount of power, but it does go off to the right afterwards, but it looks like everybody's going to tap in a relatively easy 3.
Yeah, this hole probably won't see a lot of scoring separation from the pros. Pretty easy par 4, especially in this pin location short of the OB.
And through 2 holes, we have 3 guys tied at the top with Brian, Chris, and Sam. Hole 3 is a par 3. This is in the B pin, which is 255 feet. There is an OB rock garden short and left of the pin. You'll probably see a lot of forehands or wider off to the right shots. This one's leaking off a little left. There's a chance that is in the rock garden. It might have stopped a little short.
Sam shaping up for a backhand turnover, it looks like.
It can be played as a turnover or even a flex line. This looks coming.
Well, he throws a hyzer flip. That looks like it turned over way too early. There is an OB road over to the right. I don't know if he got over that far, though.
I doubt he did. It doesn't really come into play that often.
See, Chris, once again, shaping a forehand. Gets an unlucky tree kick to the left. That definitely, he got past the rock garden, though.
Adam here looks like he's going to be backhanding one of his putters, which he's very good at throwing his putters in that. And again, Adam not exactly getting the best shot when I say something he's good at, but another good thing he's at is putting, so maybe he can make this one. It's kind of tough around some trees, and then you can see the OB rock garden right there. Maybe he'll go through the V, but I doubt he will. Oh, and he did. Oh, just off the top. And then here's Brian. It looks like he did fall short of the OB rock garden. Doesn't connect there.
Chris setting up his putt for the 2. He connects in the left side.
And the course did just get these new mock X baskets just about a month before the tournament. which we used to have chain stars out at Moraine State Park, as you would have seen in the PFDO coverage. I'm not 100% sure that would have caught on those chain star baskets. I'm not going to lie. Not going to try to diss the Discraft chain stars too much, but you do know that there were a few spit outs from chain stars over the past couple of years, so it's nice to have an improvement with these new Mach X's.
Alright, looks like Brian did not go OB and he converts on his par.
Hole 4 is another par 4. It's going up the hill, and you see a lot of this pin is tucked off to the right. And although it is only 366 feet, it requires some good shot shaping to be able to get all the way up there. And you see Chris hit that tree and kick off to the left, which there are not a large amount of lines once you get over there, so he's going to have some work left over.
Brian lets his go a little low, but it should stay out of the left woods and skip over that hill, giving him a tough upshot, probably a forehand. Sam sets up a backhand. Beautiful looking turnover.
Yeah, that's a good placement shot. You want to get to the top of the hill, and you can cut off some distance, but there's no real reason to when you can easily have a forehand upshot or a turnover. There is a little drainage ditch right at the top of the hill that is not OB, but it does come into play and mess with your footing a little bit, and that's a pretty good shot. Although he might be tucked off a little to the right, and I'll have to throw a tighter shot to the right, as it'll have a hard hook. Brian, as we said, going with the forehand approach.
He catches a bad tree. He kicks left.
Once you do pass that first row of trees, though, it does get a little more open, so he should have a relatively easy putter-up shot from there. He might have another forehand option. We'll have to see when he gets up there, but it's not as wooded as the first two-thirds of the hole are. And again, Chris is not in the best situation, throwing it overhand, something you don't see him throw super often, and it comes up a little shorter, the bend that you have to make, but he should have a relatively easy upshot from there.
Sam sets up a forehand. Ooh, catches a tree before the basket. He's short. Probably have a good run though.
Adam looks like it did not leak off to the right as I said it might have, and he has a nice spike forehand. He'll have probably a 20-ish foot putt from there. Then here's Brian. Again, he's going with that forehand again. Sneaks off a little right, but he should be able to clean up from there for his par. Chris looks like he had a nice gap from there, and he should be right under the basket. And then Sam for birdie from a good bit outside of the circle, but I've seen him connect from here before. There are some trees in his way, so we'll have to shape this a little more. That wasn't his best effort. Chris looks like he did not make it all the way to the basket as I thought he did. So he'll have another tough putt for par here. Doesn't look like he has much of a line. I bet he's confused.
Tries to get a hyzer out there, but just doesn't fade enough. He's going to have to take a bogey.
Yeah, and this isn't a hole you would like to bogey a whole lot. It sees a lot of birdies from the field. The pros here are struggling, but I know there were quite a few birdies out there, especially in this pin position. It takes 2 clean shots, but they don't have to be distance shots. You can easily throw 250 feet and then another 100 feet, and then you should be putting. Good connection from Adam there. And I think he did get the birdie, so Adam did gain a stroke on them, and then 2 on Chris. Brian putting his in from a relatively, it's a nervous distance, at least for me it is. When you're sitting at that distance in a tournament like this, your knees start shaking, and You know those putts, you'll miss them every once in a while. Chris tapping in an unfortunate bogey, which ties Sam, Chris, and Brian back up at top with Adam only 1 stroke behind.
Hole 5 is a relatively easy par 3, especially for the pros. It's dead straight right ahead of them. Probably just a dead straight putter, mid-range for most of the pros. Except Chris is probably going to throw a forehand.
Adam leaking off a little right. There's not a lot of trouble you can get into on the right side. The trouble more comes into the left, where the so-called bumble comes more into play. So he should have a relatively easy upshot for a par.
Brian goes with the forehand as well. That looks really good. Catches that tree kick to the right. He's probably going to have a 20-footer.
This hole does set up for both a forehand and a backhand. You just can't throw the forehand hyzer, and you have to more flex it around those because you can't get too far left with those guardian trees to the left.
Chris is setting up for a forehand. That looks like it got a little low and he turns it over. Or he's going to have a hard upshot or a really easy upshot, but tough not taking the 2 here. Adam, probably with a 50-footer here, with that tree right in front of his eye line. He leaves it just a little bit high, but catches the top number plate. He'll have a tap-in par. Sam setting up for his birdie. Looks like it leaked a little more right than he wanted.
He hits the right side of the chains. That's not a putt that'll fall very often. And I'm surprised that we didn't see many, if any, 2s. We'll see if Brian can connect here. He does, which is awesome. But we only saw 1 2 on this hole, and this is a hole that a lot of the pros would like to get. Even an advanced or intermediate player would like to... Oh, no, Sam. That's very unfortunate.
It's very uncharacteristic miss for someone like that, of that caliber.
Yeah, he'll be wanting that one back when he's watching this again.
I don't know if that was the cold or just nerves, or maybe he rushed it, but that is definitely a hole that you do not want to bogey.
Now,
because this is next, the par 5, hole 6 at Moraine. It's 735 feet through the woods the whole way. If you get off the fairway to the right or left, you are in dangerous trouble.
Yeah, once you get off the fairway, he leaks right. He's most likely going to be pitching out from there or only chipping his way up the fairway rather than throwing something farther. This hole doesn't really take a lot of distance, as you really only need to work your way 200 feet up the fairway, maybe each toss. But something that happens is you get caught behind one of those trees in the middle or caught off to the left, and the strokes start adding up. Because an eagle is possible for bigger throwers, but then Simon Lazard in the PFDO, he took a eagle the first round and then a 7 the next round. So it all depends on where you end up on that first initial drive or your second shot before you can really start planning your approach to the basket.
Adam with a very well placed forehand gets him in that left fairway. That should give him a pretty easy second shot. Sam shakes off the cobwebs from the missed putt on the previous hole, but that'll land him in that middle grove of trees, which he will probably not have a great line from there. Brian really didn't leak too far to the right. He has a forehand, a pretty clear forehand. Just kidding, he threw a roller.
Which is a little right. I'm not going to say leaking right, because last time I said that he wasn't that far right, but it wasn't as far as he wanted to be. And then Chris going forehand roller, and that unfortunately does leak off to the left, so he'll leave himself into some trouble. But you do see a lot of rollers on your first, second, and third throws. A lot of the pros did that. Backhand rollers, forehand rollers alike.
Another forehand roller, this time by Sam. Like I said, he is in that middle grove of trees with a very tough line. And that one's going to go to the left. The pros was not really having a great time with this hole.
And I believe this is Adam's drive. So he's not as far left as he probably wanted to be, but he should be able to have an anhyzer around that low-hanging tree. More of a hyzer flip, but that is a very good shot. And he should leave himself not too far before he gets to the basket.
Chris's roller did leave him in pretty tough woods. He just pitches out with a forehand.
Yeah, that was what we were talking about earlier. Getting off to the left or the right requires a pitch up or a pitch out or something that doesn't get too far up the fairway, because you could get even deeper into the woods after that. So we'll see how Brian works here. Yeah, and he doesn't even get all the way out, and I think that he was just trying to pitch out to the fairway. He's on the edge there, and he might have a shot.
Chris's pitch out put him in a pretty good position. He just throws an hyzer up shot, puts him within 15.
And Brian lining up, that might be a thumber or another forehand roller. Another forehand roller. And it does go off to the left again. It's not too thick over there, and it looks like it curled back right at the end. That was actually a pretty good shot. I don't know how far from the basket exactly it is, but he might have a shot at birdie from there.
Sam throwing an anhyzer with a putter to try to get it close. And he catches some tree branches. He's going to be throwing again.
Yeah, you never really want to throw those twice in a row, or even 3 times in a row if you're unfortunate, because that gets to you mentally. You have the tendency to rush, but you never want to rush your next shot. You just have to take your time.
Adam setting up his, this is his eagle putt, I think. He does not keep that straight enough. It's going to fade out left, but he'll have a very easy birdie. Sam setting up his par putt, I believe.
It's either for par or for bogey. On that one does catch. On those, again, mock X's. Brian, I know he got stuck off to the right. This is either for par or bogey. I think that was par. Chris, he got stuck off to the left. So I think this is for par. And again, this is a very birdieable hole if you do not get off the fairway. But once you do get off the fairway, you're struggling to make that par. And Adam playing that hole just about as well as you can. Maybe he wants to get a little closer on the putt, but I guarantee he's not complaining about getting the birdie there. Hole 7 is for right-handed players. A relatively easy hyzer out over the trees, crashing down left. You just don't want to leave it too far right or even too far left, because the wind does play with it. So you choose an overstable disc, mid-range or a driver most likely.
I'm interested to see how Chris plays this hole. If he decides to throw the backhand hyzer or tries a sneaky forehand line down that tunnel through the left.
Yeah, there is a tunnel shot down to the left as a lefty. That's the shot I take, as my forehand is not the greatest. And it is a line. It's just this hyzer line is definitely a no-brainer if you have the righty backhand. And that flashed the front of the basket. I think that was actually quite short, probably leaving him a circle's edge putt. It is touchy. It is a touchy shot. You see a good amount of twos from the top players, but it does get in your head as you think you must birdie it, but Chris showing us he's not throwing the forehand, and it doesn't work out super well. Sam, I'm guessing he's going with one of the overstable Prodigy discs. Sam, a Prodigy sponsored pro. Couldn't see where that one finished up, but I don't think none of those shots were great. There is a disc right there. I believe that's Adams. He is in putting range, and Chris here.
Chris lands pretty short. Runs that decently past the basket, probably about 15 feet. He'll have a tough comebacker. Brian's did land and decently short. He'll give this one a run. Ooh, just misses it to the right side. Drop in par for Brian. Sam also lands short. He wants to connect on this one after a couple unfortunate holes in a row.
Yeah, he's quickly lost strokes, and as you see, Brian's taking the lead, and he looks to try to take that one back, but just a little low left. Chris with an actually quite tough comebacker. You never like to have a comebacker on these relatively wide open holes. He connects there.
He does connect on that par putt. Adam for his birdie to gain a stroke on the entire card. Adam definitely likes to take his time on his putts, and I don't blame him. This weather was brutal sometimes with your hands getting cold in between shots. By this time, it was warming up to the high 30s, and Adam does connect on that one.
Speaking of warming up, Adam Woodward moved into a tie with Brian there for the lead. Sam able to connect back on his par, and then Brian able to tap in his par. And Adam again taking a stroke on the rest of the card after two birdies in a row. Hole 8 is a par 4, takes a placement first shot into kind of a tunnel off to the left, a relatively righty hyzer friendly hole.
Yeah, this first shot you just want to get it a hyzer to connect from this tunnel to the next tunnel to the left. This one looks pretty good. He could have been too far left. There's a couple trees to contend with if you get over there, but he should have a nice hyzer up shot to the basket, which is in the B position to the left. Brian also choosing the backhand.
You won't see a lot of forehands on this hole. I know as a lefty, I'm throwing a turnover shot because, again, my forehand's not great. And you'll see Chris taking that lefty backhand and hyzer line as a righty forehand player, or he's throwing forehand roller. Darn it.
Yeah, Jake, you probably should stop predicting what Chris is going to throw. He just does whatever he wants. That one, though, might not have been the best choice. He's going to end up in some short trees, short of the tunnel. He's going to have a tough approach. Sam going with backhand hyzer.
I think that's pretty good. It might have been a little short, but he might have a line from there. Chris, a very good flex shot from there. I think he made it around the trees that put him close to the basket. Not super close to the basket, but close enough he should have an easy par. And Sam was a little short, but he should have a nice forehand and hyzer to the basket, or a roller if he wanted to. Looks like he tried a little bit of both. Neither the right shot, I'd say.
Yeah, that cut rolled to the right. He should have an easy approach up and down for his 4, but that was definitely not the shot he was looking for. Adam did leak too far to the left. He's going to have a tough hyzer to get to that basket, which is tucked pretty far to the left. That skips in very nicely. He should have...
Looks like it was rolling away a little bit at the end, but he'll have a putt from there. Again, this does take a nice placement shot off the tee in order for you to have a shot at the basket, or else you're scrambling with those forehand rollers and the Anheuser flexes.
Brian going back to the forehand roller after he tried that on the previous hole.
Wow, great roll.
That one circles up nicely. He's very close.
Yeah, it's not often you see a birdie after getting off the fairway from your first shot, and Sam leaving that upshot a little short, leaving him more work than he probably wanted. Here's Chris for birdie, probably 60, 70, 80 feet. A little shorter than that, and a little short on the putt.
Sam looking for his par.
And a great connection there for him. You definitely don't want to take a bogey here, especially after he had a relatively easy upshot that he didn't get where he wanted to.
Adam had a great upshot. He's going to try to make this one for birdie. He'll take about 5 minutes and then he'll putt, but it should go in. Yep, that's a good putt. He gets the birdie.
Adam is a methodical player. When I've played rounds with him, aside from being a great guy, he's a smart guy. So he'll play smart golf, and he'll take his time every shot to determine which is the right shot for him.
Brian also connects on the birdie. Him and Adam are tied atop the leaderboards at 9 under.
Yep, hole 9 is a par 3. It's 321 feet through the trees. It can play to a forehand, a backhand. Pretty much you just have to make your way through the trees and hope that you got it all the way down there. 321 feet, so it's not a short distance, so they have to crank it out a little bit.
Yeah, the forehand looks like the go-to play for these guys, but they're just hanging it out left and short. The basket is tucked to the right a little bit, and it takes a decent amount of power to get there. Chris goes off to the right way too early. He's going to be in some very tough woods.
Yeah, there's a bit of a hill off to the right, and it is a hill of a hill. It cuts off, and you can definitely get into some dangerous rough over there.
Sam sets up the play that I like, which is the backhand roller, and he executed it almost perfectly. Can't tell, he might be a little short, but that was a very good very good roller. Adam forehand upshot, right under the basket.
And this pin position is not particularly dangerous, but there is a more dangerous pin position that causes rollaways back to the right. But this one, you have easier upshots to the basket, so you won't have as many bogeys, or even worse. Unless you do get that unfortunate roll, he'll have a tougher comebacker than he wanted.
Yeah, Chris did go down that hill that Jacob mentioned. He's looking for his options.
Maybe the second turbo putt of the round. Looks like he'll switch back to the backhand. Smart choice, Chris.
Great shot out of the rough. He's going to have a tap-in par.
Yeah, he got a lot farther up the fairway than I originally thought he did. So he'll have that tap-in par there, and Brian looking to connect for his par. And a good putt for him. Again, that's that distance that is a little shaky during these tournament rounds, especially when it's cold and the beginning of a tournament season. You haven't exactly warmed up your putt.
Yep, that was an excellent 2 by Sam. That roller put him in great position. He's going to get a stroke on the entire card. Hole 9 is a very tough 2, even for these pros. It was a very tough basket to get to. The rest of the players tap in their pars.
most people would be happy with a 3 on this hole as long as you don't get into too much trouble. Just that initial tee shot determines what you are getting on that hole. Hole 10 is a dog leg left. You're most likely playing a hyzer placement shot to the base of the hill as a righty player. It doesn't need to be too much of a hyzer. You can play more of a flat shot, but the more overstable the disc, the farther up the hill you'll get, which causes an easier up shot. That might be a little long of where you want to go. Might be putting a little too much on it, but you can have a shot from there. Up the hill is obviously a tougher shot than flat or downhill, so you'll have a harder run up, and it is a good bit up that hill, maybe another 250 feet.
Yeah, if you don't get too far up the hill, also, you can contend with some trees early, which may force some uncomfortable run-ups with roots or uncomfortable lines that you have to shape. Because up the hill, there is a tunnel to the right or the wide left line that you can take a forehand or an anhyzer.
And that's definitely long of where you want to go. That flipped up to more flat than he wanted to. Again, it's more of a hyzer. And I think I see Brian, that was a drone, which is an overstable mid-range from Discraft. And he might have cut that a little short, but if he didn't, that is definitely the shot you were looking for.
Chris going to the backhand. And he shows us how it's done. You really don't need that much power. Just get a good hyzer out there, get you into the middle of the fairway.
And as I half stated, Brian did end up short. Looks like he has a high forehand out.
Yeah, Jake, that was very short. I don't know what you were thinking there. Yeah, if you don't get into the designed landing area, you will struggle for your par.
Very good anhyzer forehand from Chris from where he was. I still think it was a little right, and he won't have the easiest putt, but it wasn't the worst shot he could have had.
Adam's showing us why you don't want to land long in this hole. He's exploring his options right now. It looks like he's going to go with the forehand roller. He gets out of the initial woods very nicely, and that looks like a great shot. He gets a long way up the hill. He's going to set up for about a 45-footer from there. That's a great shot.
It is close to circle's edge from those dried weeds over there, and a forehand roller up the hill is a gutsy move, but he knows his discs and he knows how to throw them, so he definitely played the right shot there.
Sam, with the best drive on the hole, unfortunately catches one of those middle trees separating the two tunnels. He's going to have to take this next shot. Putter Annie up the hill. Gives him about a 12-footer there. Maybe a little bit longer than he wanted, but he should connect. Brian having to throw a forehand out of the woods up towards the basket. Very nice.
Good shot. Yeah, he'll have a tap-in par. And then Adam from a little outside the circle.
It is for Adam's birdie after that incredible forehand roller. We'll see if he can connect. Great putt. He's going to take the birdie there, move into 10 under.
Then Chris, he was a little right after that forehand anhyzer, but this is for his birdie, and he's looking around about a circle's edge putt.
I'd also like to note the fashion statement by Chris, taking off the hat, revealing his luscious hair. Sam looking to connect on his par. Great putt.
Yeah, and the rest of the card will tap in their pars here. Again, a hole that is definitely birdieable, but if you don't hit that gap off the drive and then another gap on the second shot, you're not exactly looking at a birdie unless your name is Adam Woodward.
Yeah, Adam threw an incredible forehand roller. Had a drive that leaked too long, and he would definitely agree with that, but he converted on a great birdie there, and he's going to have the tee for hole 11, which is a tunnel off the tee, and then it goes uphill 258 feet. He definitely not hard to get the distance up to the basket, but shaping it without catching any of the trees that leads up to the basket is very hard to do.
Yeah, a lot of players will be throwing the dead straight shot, which looks like that's what he's going for here. And he does clip that tree off to the right, which again, this is a pretty tight tunnel all the way to the basket.
Yeah, but that should be a pretty easy up and down for his par from there. That one and leaks a little low. He'll have
got a kind of an anti-skip towards the basket, which worked out for him. I think he was looking for a little more flip, but he definitely got close to the basket for a putt.
Brian going with the forehand. He does not get that far enough left. He's going to catch an early tree. Going to have a tough up and down from there.
Yeah, he probably wanted to flip that a little more, cause a little more flex, and then Chris with the poofy hair going with his signature forehand right into the ground.
That rode a decent ways, though. He will probably have a good look at an upshot from there. Brian throwing the forehand and up right under the basket, tap in for his par. Chris lets that one get a little away from him to the right. He's going to have a tough putt for par, probably about 25 to 30 feet to the right of the basket. Adam giving himself a look from about 50. That's the danger of this hole. If you can't make it all the way to the basket without hitting a tree, you are not really looking at a good putt for 2. Great putt from Adam. He is definitely heating up right now. Chris looking for his par after this upshot leaks to the right. And leaves that one low. He's going to have to settle for a bogey.
I'll ask Chris why he didn't run that one. We'll talk about strategies later because that's a putt that you should make.
Sam looking for his 2. Man, that putter is just not working for him right now. Hopefully he can pick up on that later.
Adam connecting on the huge birdie, Sam and Brian getting their pars, and then Chris taking the unfortunate bogey. Hole 12 is one of the tougher holes on the course, as well as one of the tighter holes on the course, which I think they are synonymous. You're going to have to throw a pretty nice skip backhand hyzer around that corner and then give yourself at least a look.
If that's not too long, that's definitely looking pretty good. Like Jacob said, this hole is very hard because of the placement off the tee. If you're even a little bit long or a little bit short, you do not have a very good look at a 3. Very tough to shape that shot.
That's a little high. It might have gotten all the way around the corner, which being high isn't the worst thing that you could do.
But it does take away some of that skip that you're looking for to get to the left. Brian throwing it nice and low to get that big skip, but that flares up too much. He more wants that to go to the left, but that should be a good shot. Chris going with the forehand.
Is it you going
probably forehand roller?
No, it looks like he's going forehand.
Well, Chris once again throwing us off. That was a very interesting play that looks like it didn't go too badly for him. He's going to have a tight up shot, but he's not in the woods.
Looks like he switched discs, gave it a little kiss. Maybe that'll force it all the way to the basket.
Also, he put his hat back on. Hopefully that'll bring him some luck.
And that was a really good shot. He gave himself a putt, and this isn't one of the easiest holes to birdie, so he'll have a look for birdie here. And a relatively easy par. And Adam hoping to keep up his birdie streak that he's been going on of 2 holes.
Yeah, he did leak a little long like I suspected, but this will set up for a nice forehand hyzer.
And making it look like there were no trees on that forehand.
But he does land a little short and right. He's going to have a congested putt there.
Looks like Brian threw a putter for that shot on a nice little hyzer flip. He goes a little bit to the left, but he'll definitely have a putt from there. And Sam did go a little long. You can see hole 13's tee pad down the hill there. But there are some lines through the trees, but it's going to be hard to make it through them.
Showing us why he's a pro. He gets through all those trees excellently. He'll have a 10 to 15 footer for his birdie.
Yeah, mine probably would have hit at least 6 trees on that shot, and then, oh no, Chris.
Chris with a great run there, and that's unfortunate because he just rolled down that right side hill. He's going to be putting again, this time for par.
Yeah, and this par putt up this hill I've seen a lot of times, and I've banged him off the cage. It's not easy going back up the hill, and he'll hit a tree before he reaches the cage, and he'll have to tap in an unfortunate par there.
Unfortunate bogey. Adam looking for his birdie. A lot less congested of a putt than I thought. This is going to be a tough one coming up the hill, though. This to continue his birdie streak to 3 holes. Oh no, I might have retroactively jinxed him. He's going to have to tap in his par.
And Brian
misses his birdie putt. He's going to have to come up back the hill for his 4. Brian connects on his par. Sam connects for the birdie. That's very nice for him after a couple old tough holes.
And Chris again. Well, Adam there tapping in first, and then Chris going to take the bogey there. He's falling farther off than he wanted to obviously fall, if not that you want to fall at all. Well, hole 13. Hole 13 is a very, very tight shot up through the trees, mostly tunnel all the way before cutting off a little to the right. You'll see a lot of forehands from the right-handed players. And he got all the way up there, a little short. He'll look at a circle's edge putt from there, I'm guessing. Adam going with what I imagine is a turnover.
Yeah, this hole is very, very tight. One kick of the tree and you can kick all the way down the hill. Oh, down near 18's gold tee pad. And, oh, that leaks out a little to the left for him, which is better than to the right. And he kicks right back into the middle of the fairway. He shouldn't have too hard of an up and down. Brian going to set up for his forehand. Looking like he's opting to do a standstill, hoping to get more accuracy. This hole does not require a lot of distance. Yeah, he's going to hit a guardian tree short of the basket, but he shouldn't have too hard of an up and down.
And Chris opting to take his hat off yet again before he throws this overhand. And that was great. That was
Chris.
Awesome, actually. He'll definitely look to connect for his birdie there, which would be a great gain of momentum for him as he hasn't been playing his best golf so far. Adam looking at probably around a 60-footer, I'd say.
He's definitely going to give this one a go. Doesn't look too contested of a shot. Small jump. Oh, right off the top. He's going to tap in his par.
But Adam is showing why he deserves to be on this top card. He's been playing some great golf. He didn't play his best round the first round, but he's coming back and taking the lead by 2 strokes over Brian.
Brian also gives that a really good run.
And this is a hole that most pros would like to birdie, but there are so many trees that once you hit that one tree, you're struggling to make par. because there are not many lines once you get off the first defined fairway. And Sam, although he made it all the way to the basket, leaked off so far right that he would have had a tougher putt to make the birdie. And Chris for birdie after a pretty much impeccable drive.
And he connects.
Nice.
Great birdie, taking the box from all the other players. And obviously gaining a stroke on all of them as well. Everybody else hopefully will tap in their pars. Looks like they will.
Yep, not the longest hole, but definitely very tight and wooded, along with hole 14, which is another shorter par 4, but there's tunnels on both the drive and the upshot that you'll have to face. You have that left gap and the right gap. Chris going for forehand roller.
Down the middle gap, which doesn't really exist, but he got through. But he's going to leak off to the right.
Sam here opting for a backhand. Although I have seen some backhand rollers in the past, specifically from the man himself, Paul Macbeth, who placed himself on the top rollers of the year. And that was just a regular backhand that clipped a tree to the right.
Yeah, he did not really travel that far down the fairway. Catches an early tree. I usually opt to throw a turnover down that left gap and have it flex back later, just like Adam does here. That'll put him in a very nice spot down the fairway. Even if you get a far way down that fairway, you're going to have a tough upshot. This one's going to be up on a pedestal of rocks to the right. Only 336, but it's so hard to get to that pin.
We'll see Sam here, who hit one of the earlier trees. He's going to have a tougher upshot. We'll zoom in on the basket, which just looked like the trees from there, but I promise you guys it is back there.
Sam throwing the forehand. Big flex that just ends up way to the right. That definitely was not the release he was looking for.
And I hate to say it, but he was actually lucky he clipped that tree, or else he was going deep into the bumble to the right.
Maybe going into Lake Arthur.
Okay, Jarrett, not that far.
Chris's forehand roller does leave him to the right, but he's gonna have a forehand look out. Catches a tree pretty early, but he gets back up into the fairway. Probably will throw a forehand upshot from there, hoping to get up and down for par.
And Sam's third shot after clipping that tree on both his first and second shot, hoping to get it up closer to the basket.
Backhand putter turnover, it looks like.
And it's a little left of the pin, probably pin high. And it's going to be a tester putt for sure from there, looking up at the basket rather than being level with the ground.
Adam's drive puts him in a very good spot. He's going to be tucked behind a tree having to throw a tough forehand, and he puts way too much anhyzer on that. Should have an easy up and down, though. Chris throwing the forehand hyzer. Nice skip towards the pin. He's right under the pedestal of rocks.
And I believe this was Brian's drive, which is a great drive on this hole, as biting off as much distance as possible works great. And I think that hit the rocks, giving him a tap-in birdie on the elevated basket.
Adam just laying up for his par. Sam needs this one to connect for par. Very tough putt. Probably just outside circle's edge. Just enough height. Squeaks over the rim. Great connection for par. Adam taps in his par.
Chris looks to do the same, and then I do believe Brian gets the birdie. We'll see with the ticker on the bottom. If so, that is a great get. Yep, it was a birdie. Great drive, great upshot. Amazing putt. That's how you get the birdie on that hole. Hole 15, I would say, is easily the signature hole at Moraine State Park. Look over the lake. The water does not come into play, but throwing a shot out over the trees and watching the water in the background, just like that. A lot of the pros and many players will be throwing layups to that left side on the top of the hill to throw a hyzer down at the basket. Bigger arms might be looking to cut off more distance.
Yeah, it looks like Brian's drive made it too far over the hill than he wants. He might have a tough run up down the hill. Chris opting for a forehand, hoping to get down the hill. That looked pretty good. Sam looking to just throw a hyzer. Yeah, he's laying up to the top of the hill. Hyzer is going to be the approach for most of these pros.
Yeah, the true test of skill comes on the second shot where you're throwing high up off the hill and looking for a late fade back towards the basket. But don't put the layup on the back burner, because it is definitely something you have to focus on. And that's a very good spot for your layup.
I don't know what's going on with Pittsburgh players' headwear today. I'm just probably going to stop commenting on it from here on out. But I appreciate Adam's change. He's going to throw a big wide hyzer, or probably on this shot. Yep, the wind coming off Lake Arthur at this point was pretty big. Huge headwind for these players. Adam's shot looked very good, though. Brian puts actually exactly where he wants, probably. Huge hyzer here. Tough to catch by the camera, but that looks like it leaked off a little far to the left. Sam right on top of the hill. Slight downhill run up.
He could have the hyzer play or the straight up the middle over the dogwood in the middle. Looks like he's opting for the wider hyzer.
Jacob makes one correct call today. And that one did not land where Sam wanted it.
And Chris's drive, showing off the big arm that he definitely has. Giving him an easier upshot. That's a little right. He's giving himself a circle's edge putt. And again, as I said before, the upshot is definitely the more important of the two shots on this hole. As getting yourself close to the basket is key for your putt, because birdies easily become pars with the wind coming off the lake.
Yeah, Brian did leak off a little left there. Putting from decently outside of the circle. Good run, just it's too far to the right. He's going to have an easy tap in 4. Chris's upshot left him very short and right. He gives it a very good go, but it doesn't catch any metal. He's going to have a comebacker for the par. Sam's big hyzer upshot puts him on circle's edge. Can't connect. He's going to have to drop in his par. And this is Adam for his birdie. He goes slightly long in the basket, but he only has about a 20 to 25 footer for his birdie. And he connects.
Yes.
Chris quickly taps in his par. That was definitely more of a tester putt than he was looking for.
We'll let the rest of the guys tap in their pars. Not a large birdied hole, but a hole that you would like to get with a good upshot. So, seeing guys pars on that hole is definitely not irregular. Hole 16, par 5, dogleg left up the hill.
You definitely want to get this drive to the top of the hill, because if you're not to the top of the hill, you have a very tough second shot without even seeing where your intended line is. Adam looks to go big, but he catches one of the limbs hanging above. He's not even going to make it to the hill. That's going to set up for a very tough second shot.
At only 558 feet, this hole definitely doesn't play very long, but most people will tell you it plays as a true par 5 with accuracy and the key part of this hole for sure. Rollers are a common play, as you saw Brian play there with the forehand roller. Chris looking to go forehand. So we saw a backhand, a forehand roller. The forehand roller being the best of the shots so far, and Chris getting an unfortunate rollout to the left there. Then we'll see Sam lining up backhand, most likely a slight hyzer flip or a flap to Annie.
Yeah, he sets up the hyzer flip. That looks like he got a good bit of distance. He's going to leak off to the left. He's going to have to contend with some trees over there, but getting distance off the tee is a huge advantage on this hole. Chris had a tight line there, and he sets up a very nice forehand, and he should set him up in the middle of the fairway. Adam looks like he's setting up a forehand roller, and that's exactly what he does. It's tough to tell where that one's going to end up. Probably leaked off a little to the left.
Yeah, he did throw that same disc on hole 10 when he got that birdie. So, hopefully he got the same results there. Brian apparently didn't get as far up as I thought he did, going with the forehand roller yet again, and that is a lot better than his first shot. Getting a large amount of distance, giving him a relatively easy upshot / putt to get a birdie.
Sam sets up a forehand roller after a great drive. He didn't leak off nearly as far left as I thought, but that forehand roller cuts out early on him. He's going to have be left of the basket and very short.
And Adam hanging out with the broken branches over there. His forehand roller did not do as well as he wanted it to. He'll have a tough shot from here. And
he put a good rip on that right into a tree. He's going to be throwing again now. Yeah, getting over to the right side on this hole produces some very tough lines. Going to be trying a different disc here. Doesn't throw that one nearly as hard.
Yeah, definitely more of a finesse shot from Adam there, which is what I think a lot of his gameplay is, playing finesse shots and not ripping on discs. Chris there, my apologies. Chris throws a forehand, clips a late tree. He'll have a pretty easy 2-shot par there. And then, oh no, clipping that tree and cutting off and shooting off to the left, and he'll have to throw again is Sam. Oh, never mind getting faked out there. It's actually Brian, who did not get as far up as I thought, but again, definitely somewhere you want to be lying too. He should have a tap-in birdie there. Great way to play the hole.
One of the tougher things about this hole, especially this pin location, is there's a very big drop-off right behind the basket. Has a nice little trench that typically funnels this down to the bottom of that hill. That one probably lands in the middle of the trench.
Yeah, rather than struggle with the rollaway, he decided to just throw it to the bottom of the hill so he wouldn't have to face the rollaway. Not exactly the smartest play, but I can see where he's coming from. He'll be looking up the hill rather than down the hill for his putt.
Yeah, Sam looking up from the bottom of that trench definitely did get that rollaway. That's a very tough putt. That's definitely 30 feet or more. And he bangs that one off the cage.
Adam.
Connects on his par. Chris taps in his par. And Brian letting Sam there tap in his
bogey. And then Brian tapping in a great birdie. And if we take a look at the leaderboard with only 2 holes remaining, Brian is sitting at 11 under, but Adam, coming from behind, is at 12 under par. Sam and Chris did not shoot as well as they had hoped. Maybe they can put together 2 aces on the next 2 holes, but definitely the Brian and Adam show from here on out, plus maybe some chase card action. Yeah, hole 17 is a par 3, pretty short, a little uphill, playing to an elevated basket, again on a nice rock formation. Putting this disc through the trees and getting yourself on the green is key here, and hoping for a putt at the basket. Chris opting for the forehand, of course. A little right, he's up by the pin that is up there, not exactly where it is right now, but in a couple months that'll be a good shot. Chris right off the rocks. He'll have a tap in par. Brian looking to make a birdie here. And not a bad attempt, but he'll have to settle for par there. And Sam looking to make a birdie and bring back his round. Didn't exactly can make the best putt there, but he'll again settle for par on this hole. And Adam hoping to make a birdie here. Pretty good. Yeah. That's exactly where you want to put the disc. Getting it in the chains and in the bottom of the basket is how you hole out in disc golf. So doing that gives them the birdie on the hole.
Very nice explanation, Jacob. Coming into hole 18, this is a great finishing hole. Any drive that goes out of bounds, either the early creek or the one behind the basket to the left and right, requires you to go to the drop zone, which is down in the bottom of the trench in the middle by that creek, giving you a very tough upshot. This par 4, only 408 feet, but plays through the tunnel the whole way. OB definitely coming into play.
I think Adam might have went OB there. It looked like a good drive, but it looks like it clipped one of those late trees that shoots it right back down into the OB trench.
Brian rips on that drive. Oh my, great shot by Brian there.
Yeah, throwing that hyzer flip down the middle is one of the best kind of shots you can have on this hole. Not many twos are had on this hole. You might have seen Simon Lizotte do it at the PFDO, but that's about it, as it does take a good crush as well as a dead straight throw. Chris hangs it out a little right, but he's past the OB.
Sam hoping to shoot off some fireworks on this final hole to come back, but oh no. He's going to catch a tree. Not going to get to the OB, so no issues there, but he's going to be throwing again. turns that approach over a little to the right. He's going to contend with a lot of trees over there. Adam did find the OB on his drive, so he's going to go down to that drop zone that I was referring to. And very tough.
Yeah, it's a blind shot up the hill. OB behind the basket. I don't think that was the shot he wanted. It's not going to be easy. Chris, a nice little upshot there, putting him close to the basket. And Brian, after a fantastic drive.
We'll see if he runs this for the eagle with the OB right behind it. I think that was a bit of a half go, but it definitely did land decently short of the basket. But he'll have a tap-in birdie after a great drive. Adam looking in at the OB to make sure that he has a decent bit to go. Hopefully he can convert for his par. Yeah, that was a pretty good shot out of that drop zone. Just chains out, but he's going to stay safe from the OB. Should have an easy tap in for bogey.
And as the rest of the players tap in here, looks like Adam will finish at 12 under par, as well as Brian after he taps in his birdie. And then Sam and Chris not exactly shooting the best rounds, and they'll fall behind him. So that would mean we would go into a playoff. However, from the chase card shooting a very hot 57, winning the Open Division was Richard Cambio, which congratulations to Richard Cambio as well as the rest of the winners. Finishing in second place in Open, Brian Marcinkowski as well as Adam Woodward tying in second, and tying for fourth, Sam Castiglione and Chris Lahendro. Winning the Advanced Division, Jarrett Benefield. Winning Intermediate, who?
Oh yeah, that was me. Jarrett Johnston won Intermediate. Winning Men's Professional 50, Red Winnington, a Pittsburgh legend. Winning the Recreational Division was Christian Fawcett.
In a playoff, I might add.
Winning the Junior Division was Jackson Lozier. And winning the Men's Amateur 40 was Dave Soleo.
And here's me checking scores at the end there with BJ Ryer. Big thanks to him. There's Jarrett with his signature pit hat on, as well as Zach Turdinich and Dustin Schrock up there calculating final scores. Big shout out to everyone who came out and helped me put on the event, and I'm super happy that everybody did come out. Adam Couture, Zach Schweitzer there, Vinny, and then Chris Lahendro. Big thanks to Chris Lahendro. He helped me a whole bunch.
All right, guys, and that was our coverage of the 2018 Shamrock Showdown here at Moraine State Park. Thank you so much to Jacob and Jarrett for commentating today. Anything you guys want to say before we go?
No, just thank you very much for having us.
Yeah. If people wanted to look up some more stuff about the Shamrock Showdown, where can they go?
Well, if you want to see the results, you can go to pdga.com, and then if you go on Disc Golf Scene, there will be another Shamrock Showdown next year, so we'll all be looking forward to that.
Awesome, yes. And much better weather than the previous year, so we're really excited about that. Hope you guys enjoyed it. I want to say special thank you to the Disc Store for sponsoring today's broadcast. You guys are awesome. Remember to use this promo code Examiner18 at checkout to get 7% off your purchase. It really helps us, and it helps Disc Store, so go check them out. They're fantastic for covering us today. Thank you, guys. So until next week,
Keep banging those chains.